Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. India counts down to 1 billion vaccination doses by tomorrow. India's vaccinations could cover 4 United Kingdoms at this current rate. Celebrations all scheduled for tomorrow, but challenges also remain. India's climate change reality devastates states in unprecedented October rainfall in Uttarakhand, Kerala, North Bengal. In North Bengal, Darjeeling is seeing record rain. Nearly 50 dead in Uttarakhand in the last 24 hours. Nainital roads are open. Ranikhet and Almora remain cut off. Waited till 1 a.m. for the police status report. The Supreme Court tells UP government lawyer Harish Salve. Justice Kohli says, we feel you are dragging your feet. Dispel that impression. Why have only 4 accused been interrogated out of 44? Shah Rukh Khan's son Aryan's WhatsApp chats lead to denial of bail. In jail since the 3rd of October. Bail is denied for Aryan and his friends. No drugs found in Aryan Khan, but the court order says there was conscious possession because he knew his friend had drugs. The judge also says that there's talk of hard drugs and bulk quantity on his chats. It seems to be involved in international drug racket. Now, his bail denied. The appeal will be in the High Court. Fuel prices hiked once again. Diesel now over 100 rupees in many major cities, except for Chennai, which is touching 100. So that's the big inflation worry. UP's first international airport at Kushinagar, the world-renowned Buddhist site in UP, gets an airport. Sri Lankan monks and ministers are on the first international flight. Meanwhile, a political spat over flying in luxury. In Rajasthan, a 55-year-old woman is killed for silver anklets. Her feet are hacked off for the anklets. Well, India's final countdown to 1 billion doses has begun. Let's just take a look at that tracker currently on the CoWIN app, which actually shows you the numbers. So at the moment, we're just over 37 lakhs to go. That's likely to be crossed by about 11 o'clock tomorrow. The health minister already planning his schedule for tomorrow and celebrations. So India counting down to 1 billion doses. Now just Meher joins me now. Meher, just in terms of absolute numbers, India all set to vaccinate 1 billion people. That's more than any other country in the world except China.
Exactly, Sonia. This 100 crore vaccination milestone is massive, a big achievement, especially considering where we were just a few months ago when centers were shutting down and states were running out of vaccines. How we've got here is something to really be proud of. And the reason for that is a massive overhaul in the vaccine procurement policy. The center decided to procure vaccines centrally so that states don't have to go around looking for vaccines. And there's also been a massive production scale up, which has brought us here now. 75% of all adults, all eligible population have got 1 dose and 31% of adults have got both doses. So now the government says they have enough vaccine doses to regain any momentum that was lost during this festive season. There is tomorrow going to be a massive celebration. There will be hooting at all public transport points. The health minister has actually said that he will launch a vaccination song and also a music video, which is something to look forward to as well. In particular, the poll-bound states will be celebrating this milestone. This will be led by the BJP. Right. India, as you said, the absolute numbers are massive. India has given both doses to a population equivalent of 3 Germanys, 4 Frances, 2 UKs, 2 Russias and 8 Canadas, which is something to be really proud of. But also at this point, we can't be losing perspective. The government itself has raised a key red flag that a sizable number of eligible beneficiaries who have already taken their first dose and have reached the window to take their second have not actually come forward. Now that is something to keep in mind as we hit this crucial milestone. As the government plans for tomorrow's massive celebration, it also has its work cut out. It'll be a chance to look at how far we've come, pause, celebrate this, but also go on forward so to make sure that the entire population is as protected as possible.
Absolutely, and of course this comes at a time ahead when cases also are low for us. In fact, but this also is a precautionary lesson. Let's just look at the United Kingdom compared to the UK. Now, of course, the UK's population is minuscule compared to India's population. And just look at the UK. We've seen cases here up 16% in 1 week, hospitalizations rising by 10%. Now, if you look at India, our daily new cases at 14,623, whereas the UK is 43,738. So the numbers there completely different. The UK facing a wave again, so you can't relax your guard. Daily deaths also in India 197. In the UK it's 223. That's the highest since March. And this is as the percentage of population fully vaccinated. For India currently is 21%, and for the UK is nearly 79%. So look at the vaccination numbers, but we can see that cases and deaths again at a record high in the UK as compared to India. Well, let's move to other big headline, and this is really now a climate change reality we see across the globe, and particularly devastating in India with record-breaking rain this October. There was devastation in Uttarakhand in the last 24 hours. Key hill towns in Uttarakhand remain completely cut off because of landslides. As the Chief Minister said, even courses of rivers have changed. Relief and rescue work is intensified. A large number of tourists, however, remain stranded, and road access to the plains remains blocked for many areas, though Nainital, the roads have opened. This was record-breaking rainfall in Uttarakhand, the highest ever. So we've seen that roads, bridges, communication infrastructure, all damaged. The National Disaster Response Force continues rescue operations across Uttarakhand.
This was the situation in Nainital today. Low-lying areas of the largest hill town in the Kumaon region remain submerged after the Naini Lake broke its banks, flooding the Mall Road. Today, road access from Nainital to the plains has been partially restored through Bhimtal and Kaladongi, but getting a taxi is proving to be expensive for those looking to get out. Prices of essential items are rising.
तो काल तो पूरा दिन एकदम बारिश के वजह से हम लोग बाहर ही नहीं निकल सके। तो आज तो हम लोगों का ट्रेन है रात 10 बजे, हम लोग कैसे जाएंगे वो तो कुछ पता नहीं। गाड़ी बहुत ज्यादा मांगता है, मांग रहा है 5 पर हेड 500 600 जो जितना चाहे मांग रहा है।
3000 रुपए मांगा यस्टरडे यहाँ पर काठगोदाम जाने के लिए, जहाँ 300 रुपए से हो जाएगा हमारा गवर्नमेंट का बस।
नैनीताल से टैक्सी चलाता हूँ, हल्द्वानी वाली रोड बंद है, हम लोग काला ढूंगी से होते हुए जा रहे हैं, इसीलिए हमारा रेट जो है बढ़ा हुआ है जी। 3 दिन से हम लोग टैक्सी में ही सो रहे हैं, खाना पीना भी सब हमारा उसी में हो रहा है।
But for other areas, road access remains cut off. These are images of Kherna and Kenchi in the Kumaon region this morning. Unless this massive landslide is cleared, the bulk of travellers from hill stations such as Almora and Ranikhet remain stranded. There is no fuel at pumps, erratic low-voltage electricity and broken internet services at the moment.
नुकसान अभी भी बहुत हो रखा है, उसको सामान्य होने में भी काफ़ी दिन लगेगा। सड़कें पूरी की पूरी बह गई हैं, भूस्खलन हो गया है, नदियों ने अपना मार्ग बदल दिया है, गांव के गांव जो है उससे प्रभावित हुए हैं, पुल टूट गए हैं। अभी हमारा पूरा प्रयास है कि जो सड़क बंद है उन सड़कों को सबसे पहले खोलें।
The National Disaster Relief Force remains deployed in key parts of the state to help those stranded. Water levels of the Kosi have been high, with several resorts along the Corbett National Park having been inundated. At this control room, the overall rescue and relief operations are being monitored.
अगर आप गाँव की संख्या देखें तो 4000 से ज़्यादा गांव प्रभावित हुए हैं विभिन्न प्रकार से, और 4300 से ज़्यादा में तो बिजली बाधित हो गई थी, और उसमें से 3000 में बिजली पुनर्स्थापित की जा चुकी है, और करीब 1300 में अभी बाकी है।
At least 46 people have been killed so far in the rains in Uttarakhand. And the big concern is this. This has all been caused by a western disturbance. It's unseasonable rainfall. But the fact is this, it's been 124 years since the Kumaon region of Uttarakhand has seen rainfall like this. For now, everyone's focus here is on the skies. Uttarakhand cannot afford more rain at the moment. The hillsides are saturated with water, and operations to clear roads can only happen if there's sunshine for the next few days. In Ranikhet, Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
And those visuals just give you a sense of the large-scale devastation on people's lives, because nearly 50 people died in the last 24 hours. Their homes have been washed away. Noman Siddiqui joins us now from a relief center where families have just fled with whatever they had in their bags. Noman, tell us what the situation is there now in Nainital.
Sonia, as compared to the last 2 days, the situation is slightly better today. But let me explain to you, the people sitting around me, these people stay at a place called Balia Nala, which is the outlet for the Nainital lake. So now what has happened is these people had to evacuate their homes, and now they are in a shelter which has been arranged by the government. I'm sitting inside a government college. So these people have been relocated here. Largely, if you talk about the situation, it's better as compared to yesterday and day before. Some tourists who are stranded have been able to move out because one of the highways which connects Nainital to Haldwani is open. The other two still remain shut. The army and the NDRF as well as the administration is on its toes, and they are working day and night to clear the landslides, the Malwa. But I think for things to get normal, it will take another some time.
Right, Noman, thanks so much for that. Let's just go across from Nainital. I hope the situation stays stable there, but let's go across from there to North Bengal, where again there's been record rain coming in. There's been in Sikkim and in North Bengal as well. Bengal, Sikkim, the bridge connecting the two have actually been damaged. 4 support pillars here of the bridge just washed away. So heavy rains, landslides here for the last 24 hours. Again, we've seen transport facilities hit, bridges hit in Darjeeling as well. Record rain in the last 24 hours, landslides and cloudbursts of all flights from here cancelled, and again tourists stranded, roads and houses damaged. Well, let's move across the other big story, and the details just coming in of this. Superstar Shah Rukh Khan's son, Aryan Khan, denied bail along with fellow co-accused. This, of course, is in a case of a conspiracy regarding drugs on a cruise. For more, let's go across to Saurabh. Now, Saurabh, we've seen a very detailed order there by the judge and the reasons that he didn't give Aryan Khan bail. Aryan Khan, accused number 1 in the case, and remember, his lawyers argued that Aryan Khan actually had no drugs on him. Tell us the details of what that court order says.
Well, the court order heavily relies on WhatsApp chats, and it's on the basis of WhatsApp chats that the court goes on to, add several charges and, of course, accept the Narcotics Control Bureau's argument. For example, when it comes to the application of Section 29 of the anti-drugs law, which is conspiracy, which carries, a larger sentence, a stronger sentence, and, of course, is something that can make you remain in jail for long. The judge relies on WhatsApp chats to depend on why this, can be applied. This section can be applied, saying that incriminating material in the form of WhatsApp chats, etc., show the nexus of the applicant, accused number 1, which is, of course, Aryan Khan, with suppliers and peddlers, and then, of course, goes on to explain how Section 29 of the NDPS Act is applicable. Similarly, again, the judge goes on to say that he was known to people, and he knew the people whom he was buying drugs from, international peddlers, and he could have revealed those names, but if he's relieved on bail, then of course he could tamper with evidence. So
Saurabh, in fact,
heavily relying on WhatsApp chats once
yes,
again.
No, in fact, Saurabh, what's interesting also is that the judge has addressed that point which Aryan Khan's lawyers have argued, the NCP has also accepted, that there were no drugs on him, and they said that he was in conscious possession. Now, what does that actually mean? The words conscious possession of drugs is the first, at least legally, I think.
Absolutely, and what perhaps he means is that because they were going from one place to another, because of one of the admissions that that they were meant to go and have a blast together on the ship, means that even if they weren't found in his possession, the fact that it was found on possession with someone who traveled with him is something that they are implying as conscious possession, and that's exactly what he means. And this is something his lawyers have argued, saying that millennial lingo is being misinterpreted by the agency.
Also, Saurabh, interestingly, Aryan Khan and the other accused were not actually in court today. No family members in court today either. But we've seen reactions coming in which insist that this is about targeting of Aryan Khan, that this is about, you have no proof yet that he's a user except perhaps his WhatsApp chats, which are not, of course, public. So what really are the reactions that have come in after that bail was denied? We've heard that Aryan Khan's lawyers have already gone to the High Court.
Yes, they've already applied for bail to the High Court. They wanted to mention it today, but before they could mention it before the Bombay High Court judge, the court rose, so they'll mention it tomorrow in all probability. Also, the other thing to note here is, yes, they rely heavily on WhatsApp chats, but there is, and the fact that, that consumption bit is again reliant on WhatsApp chats, but there was no test done. So the fact that it would have shown up in his blood samples if the test was done is something that the defense lawyers are going to raise definitely in the Bombay High Court when they argue for bail.
Right, Saurabh. So as I said, many questions being raised about the fact that Aryan Khan remains in jail. He's been in custody since the 3rd of October. It's now the 20th of, it's now over more than the 20th of October, and we're still looking at this case going Tariq pe Tariq. It now comes up in the Bombay High Court. And in another case now, of course, a much more serious case. The Chief Justice of India today told the UP government lawyer, Mr. Harish Salve, that we waited till 1 a.m. last night for a status report from the Uttar Pradesh police. How can we read the status report if it's filed last minute? This is in the case involving the killings of farmers and a journalist in UP's Lakhimpur Kheri. The Chief Justice, Mr. Ramanna, also asked why statements of only 4 out of 44 witnesses have been recorded so far, pointing out that only 4 accused are in police custody, the others in jail. Why was further police remand not sought for these 6? Adding that unless the police questions the accused, we will not get more information. The Chief Justice added, this should not be an unending story. Justice Hema Kohli also told the UP government, we feel you are dragging your feet. Please dispel that. In fact, interestingly, when Mr. Harish Salve also said that the report had been given in the sealed cover, the Supreme Court said, but we never asked for the report to be in a sealed cover. The next hearing now is on the 26th of October. Well, interestingly today, Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi was detained once again by the Uttar Pradesh cops. Earlier, of course, was in the Lakhimpur case. So she was detained while she was going to meet a family of a scheduled caste man who was found dead in police custody. Apparently, he was on charges of stealing 25 lakhs, but then he was found dead. So Priyanka Gandhi stopped at the UP police once again, but then also bizarrely, there were selfies taken with Priyanka Gandhi and these Uttar Pradesh women cops. So detention, selfies, and then she has been released and is now on her way to meet the family of that young man. Well, all this as UP politics warms up before the Uttar Pradesh elections, and today the Prime Minister and a galaxy of top ministers were at the Kushinagar airport, the first international airport for Uttar Pradesh, at the world-renowned Buddhist shrine of Kushinagar, where Lord Buddha is said to have attained salvation. This is his final resting place. So the first international flight was from Sri Lanka, a flight of Buddhist monks and Sri Lankan ministers carrying the holy relics of Lord Buddha. So a first international airport for Uttar Pradesh, and also some hopes of political gain for the BJP, with the Prime Minister inaugurating many other projects, including a medical college here.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today inaugurated Uttar Pradesh's first international airport at the holy Buddhist site of Kushinagar, where Lord Buddha is said to have attained salvation, or Mahiparinirvana, and his final resting place. A flight from Sri Lanka with ministers and Buddhist monks carrying a holy relic of Lord Buddha was first to touch down at the new airport.
कुशीनगर इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट के जरिए पूरी दुनिया से करोड़ों बुद्ध अनुयायियों को यहां आने का अवसर मिलेगा, उनकी यात्रा आसान होगी.
The Prime Minister presented Shiva, monk's robe, to Buddhist monks to mark Abhidhamma, the day Lord Buddha returned to earth from heaven. Top ministers of the Modi cabinet and eminent monks from Sri Lanka, Thailand, Myanmar, South Korea, Nepal, Bhutan and Cambodia, as well as ambassadors of various countries, attended the event.
Well, I mean, it's a great gesture by Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi to open the international airport at Kushinagar, and especially inviting Sri Lankan Airlines to be the first international carrier to land at Kushinagar.
The airport project was cleared under the UPA government and by the state cabinets of Mayawati and then Akhilesh Yadav. Today, however, with elections early next year, it is finally a reality which will provide a huge incentive for travellers from UP and Bihar, especially for workers going abroad. The Prime Minister also inaugurated a series of other projects, including a Kushinagar Medical College.
2014 तक उत्तर प्रदेश में केवल 2 एयरपोर्ट फंक्शनल थे, लखनऊ और दूसरा वाराणसी का एयरपोर्ट। उड़ान योजना के अंतर्गत जो लाभ हवाई चप्पल पहनने वाला भी हवाई जहाज की यात्रा कर सकता है, उस परिकल्पना को साकार करता हुआ दिखाई दे रहा है।
And as always, a sign of the politics behind all projects. First, this tweet on flying in luxury from Hardeep Singh Puri targeted at the Gandhis, which met with this response from the Congress. Bureau Report, NDTV.
Well, maybe more people are flying, but it's getting tougher for people to drive as fuel prices jumped today to hit fresh all-time highs. Petrol and diesel prices are hiked again after 2 days. Diesel is nearly at 100 rupees in many cities and over 100 many metros. So we can see there the prices at Mumbai, the highest at Mumbai is at over 112 for petrol, 102 for diesel. Chennai as well over 103 for petrol, and you can look at Kolkata as well at over 106 for petrol and diesel, either touching or crossing 100 in most major cities. In fact, petrol now costs 34% more than the price at which aviation turbine fuel, ATF or jet fuel is sold to airlines. Let's just look at the markets. Well, the markets were down today after deep volatility, down 456 points. The Nifty also closing below 18,300, dragged mostly by FMCG, metal and realty stocks. Well, in other tragic news, in Rajasthan, a woman was killed for her silver anklets. A 55-year-old woman was found with her feet hacked off. Her anklets, her feet weren't there. So local police say that this was done in theft for her silver anklets. She was 55 years old. There have been protests by her family, local villagers and BJP leaders saying that in Rajasthan, crimes against women are increasing.